I just banged your wife?
I love that.
Now he's openly flaunting?
He is.
Ace Austin.
Look at these girls.
Who are these two? What in the world?
Whoa.
What is going on around
Man,
here?
it's good to be over. Oh, yeah.
Hibiki Highspots. Welcome back, guys. What's going on? Totally different format style for this Highspots episode. Usually, I'm joined by a random guest, a different co-host each episode, taking on any era of pro wrestling, guest choice, covered any topic, but this one's special. Definitely the biggest thing to ever happen to the channel. My co-host TJ from a Major League Podcast of their own, our brand new official MLW podcast debuting soon here on the channel. Look for that. Caught up with Ace Austin at a Comic-Con in Louisiana over the weekend. SuperCon, hanging out, sat down for about 30 minutes with the reigning X Division champion from Impact Wrestling, Ace Austin himself. First and foremost, thank you to Ace Austin for agreeing to do this. Thank you to TJ for setting this up, his buddy Phil, everyone involved with the Comic-Con for doing this for the channel. Means the world. And I really mean it when I say this kid, Ace Austin, 23 years old, prodigy, absolute future of the business. But without further ado, you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to the Ace of Impact. Here it is, the exclusive interview. So without further ado, let's go ahead, throw it down to my co-host, TJ. Take it away.
Hibiki Highspots today with the one and only Impact Division champion, X Division champion, Ace Austin.
There it is, yep.
So how's it going, Ace? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm having fun. It's always nice to get to just... It's my birthday weekend, so...
That's right, happy birthday.
Yeah, I usually make it a tradition to wrestle on my birthday every year, but this year just happened to be doing a convention instead, and I get to just hang out around stuff I like and get myself birthday gifts and receive birthday gifts from nice people like you guys.
Strangers, but not anymore, right?
Indeed.
That other voice you hear is my boy Philip. He kind of put this whole convention on, pretty much. And speaking of which, what's your experience like with the convention? How'd you enjoy it?
I thought the convention was awesome. I really didn't know what to expect at all. That's the first time I really did like a panel and signings and stuff like that. The only other convention I've done before, I was booked for a cosplay wrestling show that travels with conventions, and they put these wrestling shows on like during these conventions. And it's like comic book characters in pro wrestling matches, and it's, my 2 out of 3 of my absolute favorite things just kind of combined right there. So when they booked me for that, I was really excited about it. You'd think Gambit would have been the way to go, but no, I was Quicksilver, actually, which was a lot of fun. And I didn't even have to wrestle a match either. The whole Quicksilver bit was I just walked out on stage with these headphones around my neck, and then the crowd reacted, and as soon as the commentators started reacting, I put my headphones on, and everybody in the ring, there was like a 8 or 10 man scramble match that was going on. So everybody in the ring froze up, started moving real slow. So I got in the ring and repositioned them all. And there was one guy that had a baguette in his hand for whatever. I don't remember what character he was, but he had this big baguette. So I grabbed it, I took a bite out of it. I was like, all right, and then I put it back in his hands. And then I got back out on stage. I took the headphones off, and they all collided. So that was a lot of fun. The crowd loved that.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty different.
Yeah.
The first time I saw you, I would have expected you to say Gambit for sure, like you said, because you come out with your tricks.
Yeah, I've got the Gambit thing going already. But Maybe that's why they booked me for Quicksilver, because I already do Gambit every day. So, there's something different.
You can add it to your resume now.
Yeah. But this convention was a lot of fun. The panel was cool. Good conversation.
Meeting some old friends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't had a banner before. It's my first banner, so I got myself a banner now. That's awesome.
That was
It's becoming more and more official for you, buddy.
Yeah, and I had a group of 2 people came up to my table and said that they had just been in Vegas for the Impact tapings and had seen me there, so that they came down here for this con.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Made you feel like I did it for a reason.
Yeah, right.
People see me outside of just the television, and you don't really get the reaction. It's different, I'm sure, when you get the communication through Twitter or any kind of social media. It's not really the face-to-face. Like, you could feel the human breathing in front of you, talking. I'm sure it's really cool. And I was talking to the organizer of the show, and he was saying that he had a lot of people come up to him asking him about, hey, what's up with all these wrestlers? Are you going to start having more wrestlers at the show? We would like to see more of that happening coming up. So that was really good to hear from the organizer, because he wouldn't have said anything to me if that wasn't something he believed that was becoming a big part of the show.
And we've been talking about that since the last show, to try to get a wrestling angle, maybe even matches and stuff going on.
Right. Yeah, so that could be something in the future. Just have to keep up with Showcase Comics on Facebook and Instagram. It's Showcase Comic Books and Collectibles. We're always updating different events and guests that we have coming to the shop, whether it be pro wrestlers, comic book artists, or just rad people.
And anything wrestling related that goes on down here, you'll also be able to find it on ProWrestlingJournal.com and on Hibiki Highspots on YouTube. We'll make announcements for that. But speaking about the con and some of the stories you were telling, one that I really thought was cool was one guy asked you about like the lineage of the X Division Championship and your story of that and how you view it and everything, and kind of tied it into your whole career. I mean, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was I kind of came to the conclusion while I was talking about that yesterday that truthfully I feel like I'm really not in a position or a perspective yet to like truly appreciate what it is that I kind of that I have right now with that. I've just been busting my ass for almost coming up on 5 years now to climb as quickly as I have, and I mean there's like a lot of pressure involved with that, but I feel like I work really well under pressure. I feel like that's where I thrive, and that's why I've been able to be so successful so quickly. But I mean the lineage of the title speaks for itself. It really does. It's I didn't have any concept of wrestling beyond WWE before I was as a kid. I mean, especially like when I was super young, the whole I didn't know the difference between brands or whatever. Like it was all just wrestlers wrestling to me.
Yeah.
And then as I got older and like learned about those things, it was cool, but it was still all under the WWE umbrella.
Right.
Because I was only born in '97, so by the time I learned anything about the Monday Night Wars and all that, it was like
history.
Yeah, it was history. WWE had already owned WCW at that point, so it was still all WWE.
And everybody else kind of died away on television. You couldn't find wrestling. Like Impact was on there, but they were just pay-per-view to pay-per-view. They weren't on television on a weekly basis like WWE, Raw, and I think SmackDown was definitely on there too. So it was a tough time for wrestling.
Yeah. So I definitely had. So that was all I knew, and that was what made me want to be a pro wrestler in the first place. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I was 4 years old, dude. I can remember that. I can remember like my mindset as a kid being that I didn't even think about getting a real job. Like it was never like, oh, what's a career? What's something I can do before wrestling? I thought it was just going to be wrestling. That's all I had to do.
Yeah.
As I got older, of course, that more realistically you got to make ends meet before you can get there, and you got to do the training, and it all takes time. But going back to we were talking about the title lineage, of course. So I had a little bit of exposure to TNA when I was in my younger teen years. But that wasn't like, I didn't know really much about it, so I didn't really stay dedicated to watching it. It was like I was already well deep into the WWE, spectrum, and that was all.
Yeah.
So then when I started training, and I started meeting guys that had been wrestling for my lifetime,
Yeah.
but never guys I'd never seen before.
Right.
That kind of blew my mind that there was.
Where you been? I thought
right?
You're wrestling. You're supposed to be on TV.
Exactly. I thought, oh, you become a wrestler and you wrestle for the WWE. That's it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that that I learned what I did, because getting to meet the guys that I did and their passion for what goes on the way up,
Yeah.
the really nitty gritty, like, personal grind,
Paying your dues.
that comes with all of it. So that opened my mind a whole lot. WWE wasn't the only thing in the world anymore. I started training when I was 17, for some context there. So I was still a relatively young teenager, and my mind and my whole world was changing, and I was able to throw myself into pro wrestling and grow up inside of this thing that I've always wanted to do, which is awesome. And that's obviously helped shape me. Yeah, so the more I learned and the more I was able to research and really respect all the things that I had never known about.
Yeah.
That's kind of when we learn about guys like Samoa Joe and guys like AJ Styles, who I truly feel has like the model career path. AJ Styles is somebody that I wanna model my career after. He built the foundation for himself at TNA, and then from there it was a total launch pad. Just went and took over the world of wrestling, did everything and anything that he wanted to do, and then when he was ready to just kick back and
get that big money.
And get that big money and do it was WWE. It was his decision. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I liked so much about it, was that he like carved his own path. It wasn't like he just begged and pleaded and crawled to get to the WWE, and that was it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of. I mean, I can't really speak for any wrestlers, but it seems like a lot of them think that the end all be all is WWE.
Yeah.
But I think you've seen more of people kind of take your path and do their own thing on the independents and then the smaller promotions, and just build up that name, that base, and then exactly, like when you're ready to, then WWE.
Yeah, and that's like I said, AJ Styles. The whole idea behind like what he did is one of the things that has been like helping drive me all this time is, and it gives me confidence in decision making. Because I feel like at 17,
You've made those mistakes yourself. You didn't have to go through a system that tells you how to do it. You kind of just learned by organically being in that environment.
Right.
I got into the Wild Samoan Training Center was my initial training, and when you train with them, you get an incredible foundation for the business, but they train you with like WWE in mind, and that's kind of it. You don't learn stuff about the indies, you know what I mean? It's not like there's no like stepping stone kind of path with them. It's like you train with them, you're in with the Samoan family, and then when a WWE opportunity comes up, and you fill out your profile, you apply for these tryouts, you wait and you wait and you wait, and when you finally get that tryout, that solid foundation the Samoans gave you should be enough, obviously combined with your own sort of whatever it factor you might have, because that's absolutely necessary.
Correct.
That's kind of like, that was the whole idea. So, like I said, growing up and only having that WWE in mind, it was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll train with the Wild Samoans, I'll get signed by the WWE, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
And after a year with the Samoans, I was 17, and in Pennsylvania, you could only perform after you were 18. So I trained for a year and just waited until my 18th birthday, and then they let me loose. And within my first 10 matches, the first I want to say 6 or 8 months of like, no, it had to have been less than that. Probably closer to 6, 4 to 6 months of my career. So my 10th match ended up being at Combat Zone Wrestling, the Dojo Wars program out in New Jersey. The CZW was still a big deal at the time, and this Dojo Wars program that they had been doing, it was still new and fresh, and they brought in people that were interested in coming into CZW and people that were trying to get better, and you would do these dojo shows at their training school every week in front of a very light crowd of people that knew about it.
Yeah. Intimate.
Yeah, very intimate setting. And so that was, I'm only 10 matches in. I'm less than a year into my career as a whole, and here I am on CZW's doorstep. And that exposed me to guys that had been wrestling, like I said, for so many years, that had done so much and traveled the world and done, like, so that really opened my eyes. And I got to hang out with them a lot. And guys, I got David Starr, I'll mention him. He was the first one to really just take me on the road with him. He was doing all kind of indies all across the U.S. at the time, all the top places, and he offered the students that were at CZW an opportunity to go with him to Missouri for the Harley Race wrestling camp. Harley Race does a wrestling camp every year. He just recently passed, but this was 2 years ago, I think now. Yeah, it had to have been 2 years ago. So I got to meet him before he passed, and then so he was like, jump in the car with me. I already paid my way to do it. So like, if you're interested, it costs $500 for the whole week. Pitching on gas, that's it, whatever.
Right.
Nobody responded. Nobody responded to it. He posted it on Facebook. Nobody responded to it. I was like, this is crazy. I'm absolutely. I'll go. I'd been saving up money to go on a cruise with my best friend and his family, and we had done it the year prior. And I just used that money to go to the camp. You got to prioritize. You got to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And a cruise would have been cool, but would not have furthered my career, my life,
like
my
your
life at all.
future.
Yeah, I had to think about my future here. So I threw that money right at the thing. I applied, whatever, and I jumped in the car and we drove 13 hours to Missouri. Stayed for the whole week, and we got to train with New Japan guys that came, WWE and TNA. It was Tanahashi and Gato that came for New Japan, and a handful of the other guys, and then who came for WWE was Dave Taylor, and then TNA was Shane Helms, and we got to do matches in front of all of them. They each ran different days of training, so we got like different versions and forms of training with them. It was
Sounds like a well-rounded.
It was
kind of
yeah,
training.
and especially for where I was, like I was like a year, maybe a little over a year into my career completely, and it was the perfect time to do something like that.
You're a sponge. You're absorbing up all the different kind of angles.
And it helped me, and it made that connection with David Starr, because it was just him and I on that trip. So he on the way back was like, anytime you want to, like anytime you're open and you want to ride along to a show and help out, like, just hit me up. Like, you're always welcome in my car. So I did. I told him, I'm like, you might regret telling me that, because I bugged him. I'm telling you, every single open date that I had, which at the time was, a fair amount a month. I maybe only had 2 or 3, max 4 of my own shows a month. So any open dates, where are you at on this day? Where are you going for this? Are you driving or are you flying? Like, anytime he's driving, I'm in the car. And that's how people started to recognize me, because I'd show up, I'd be like on my own show somewhere in like New Jersey, whatever, and then I'd be on a show in like North Carolina with him, and they'd be like, "Whoa, I thought you were just at wherever last night." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I was," and I just jumped in the car with him, and so I was always just car hopping. I slept in my car a whole bunch, just going to like meet people, or when we'd get back really late and I'd go back to my own house. Sometimes I wouldn't even be able to make it all the way home.
You're putting yourself on the map. You're putting yourself on the page for people that are wrestling fans. And at that time too, I'm sure wrestling fans are more and more fanatic, and they want to keep up with everybody, and they use social media. I'm like, where's the next booking for this guy? And that's kind of like how TJ and I started going to MLW in Fort Worth, Dallas, and we went to the show. And prior to that, we would watch weekly show Fusion on YouTube, and this guy shows up, and I was like, wow, this Gambit is in wrestling, and I got to watch this guy. And I told TJ about it, and TJ's like, I love Gambit. Comic books, and that's how we all connect. It's inside the comic book shop. Showcase Comics, Slaughter, Louisiana. And I was like, we got to go to the show. It's in Dallas. And TJ's like, it's already booked. What does that mean? We got tickets. All right, cool. So we go to the show, watch all the matches. After the show, the only person that's out there, guess who? Ace Austin. Got his table out with his little prints and everything else he's slinging to the fans. He's the only person at the end of the show slinging to the last minute. I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. This is awesome. I'll talk to anybody, say hi to him, at least shake their hand. I gave him my business card, and the rest is history. He's here right now. We keep in touch. I send him comic books. We talk on the IG, my favorite social media to use.
Me too.
It's
IG
easy.
Really is.
I feel like it's a format that's easy. That's just like, hey, this is what I do. You can allow it to organically grow with simple hashtags and just, I don't know. I like it. It's simple. Like Facebook, I like better for businesses.
Yeah.
And
Facebook's like an easy communication tool. You can set up groups that for important things like that. And I feel like Facebook is a lot for like people of your past too. Like on a personal level, from a business standpoint, Facebook's good because it's like really easy to navigate Facebook and find stuff. So anybody can look your stuff up on that. But then like in a personal way, I feel like Facebook's just for like your old friends from high school or your family and stuff like that.
That's the way I feel about it too.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the old Twitter?
My Twitter. Let me. So my Twitter's at @the_Ace_Austin. I just hit my Instagram is the very same handle. I just hit 10K on Instagram. I am only at 7,500 on Twitter though, and that is too low for somebody of my stature.
I've got 590 followers.
Well, I'm the X Division champion. Okay? So
follow him, folks.
Follow me. I need the numbers. All right, let's just. But no, I can't stand Twitter. It's really there was like a good like 2 or 3 month span just recently where I was just obsessing over like what the deal was with Twitter. I was like, what is happening here? And it was bothering me on a daily basis. I was spending way too much time on a daily basis, like looking at Twitter, like what is happening? Like what is happening? Just trying to figure it out so that I can capitalize on it, because that's kind of mindset I always have. I'm just trying to figure out a way to
trying to make it a tool.
Yeah, to make it a tool to exploit. Exploits. Sounds like a negative word, but I mean that in a positive way. To exploit the advantages that are available to people on an independent professional level. Anyway, yeah, but just like so I was just obsessing over it every day, trying to like figure out like what does it take, and then I realized like I'm not interested, because I don't want to be part of that negativity. It's just a constant complaining.
TJ's constantly trying to get me to get a Twitter every week. He's like, hey, you need to add a Twitter. I'm like, I don't have enough time for Twitter. Instagram is enough.
It can be fun, but the amount of negativity on Twitter.
Especially in the wrestling community.
Yes. You have all these accounts where it's like people have like 5,000 followers or something like that, and they think they're like big, huge celebrities, and they like constantly tag wrestlers and posts, and it's like, does that annoy you when you get like hundreds of notifications from just random people tagging you in anything and everything?
So like as a younger wrestler, of course, I tried to pay attention to every comment and every everything, and now it's like I can't do that. But it's especially not good for you on a mental like health level.
No, not at all.
To have to read and pay attention to all those things, because to some extent, like the criticism, it doesn't matter. It's like the whole business of what we do is presenting entertainment. Essentially, that's the word that I guess encompasses now. But it's a TV show. You watch, you react, and that's it. There should be no interaction.
It's like a
You
comic
don't-
book.
Yeah, you don't tweet your favorite actor and be like, oh, the character you played made me mad and offended because of this, and then they have to apologize and respond to you. That's not how that works, and that's not how wrestling should work either at all. I think too many. I think the problem isn't even necessarily the people that are complaining. I think the problem is that wrestlers respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should not interact
Don't-
and respond.
When was that when you're in school or whatever and you have the bad kid in the class, the teacher tells you ignore him, don't instigate it.
Yeah.
But maybe that should be part of one of your new campaigns on social media. Is you're like, I'm against Twitter, so it builds more attention.
Anyway,
You're bringing the heat on.
I get that could give me an angle. I think.
Yeah, you just have a little,
That's
little
definitely a
symbol,
good
like a
idea.
little symbol or something with a Twitter thing with the crossover. Yeah, X Division champ, X Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of
X
here.
out of Twitter.
We just had the owner of Showcase Comics pop in here. He just wants to say thank you for providing the great convention and providing a place for us to do the show today. Thanks, Tim.
No problem. All right. Well, Ace, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Is anything coming up? Anything new you want to plug? Anything going on?
Let's see. I finally bought myself a functioning laptop, so I would like to update my YouTube channel here soon. Just search Ace Austin on YouTube. I've got a channel. I'm gonna try to put as much of my matches on there as I can. I'm hoping to get a website started here soon. I don't have a domain or anything for that, but just keep an eye on my social medias for that information. Let's see what else you can. If you check out my social medias as well, you'll find a link tree that'll take you to my pro wrestling tee store, or as well as the website where you can buy the special edition collector Ace of Spade Ace Austin card.
Are you on Twitch or anything? Any video games?
No. I mean, I love video games, but I'm not streaming Twitch. Check out Jessica Havoc. She's one of my roommates. She's got a great Twitch channel. I pop in there sometimes and say hello. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I mean.
Awesome. Well, Ace, again, I appreciate it. This was a good conversation. Everybody, you'll be able to find this podcast at prowrestlingjournal.com and Hibiki TMD on YouTube. And again, Ace, thanks again. Hope you enjoy your Jeff Hardy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Love that Jeff Hardy.
All right, dude, I appreciate it. Philip, you got anything you want to say real quick?
Just thank you for being here, Ace.
All right, and again, I'm TJ at lawmance_ on Twitter. I have a Instagram, but it's private, and you're not getting my Facebook either.